Hello there, and welcome to what's hopefully the last episode of series two of Basically Polars, which is a music podcast where we've set out to put together a list of the greatest Scottish albums, and we'll talk a wee bit about that in a second. And we are now, in effect, finished with that competition, other than a bit of mopping up, which we're going to do today. So I'm delighted to say that back on the chat today we have Caroline Binney. Hi, Caroline.
Good afternoon, Brian.
How are we?
We're very well, thank you. Crossed the finish line.
Well, we are, yeah, dragged across the finish line, I think, to be fair. But we have, absolutely. And it feels good to be there. Good to see you again. And we also have Colin McCready. Hi, Colin.
Hi Brian, hi Caroline. Hopefully, so Brian, I think you deserve a gold medal.
For a stiff drink.
Or both.
A Mars
Yeah.
bar, a Mars bar and a foil
Yeah.
blanket.
Yeah, something stronger, as Caroline said. Yeah, it's put 20 years on me. But it's been great fun, and we'll obviously have a wee chat about that. So, yeah, so just quick recap. So I was actually looking back. We started this in the middle of October
Oof.
25. That was the first post we put on saying, got this idea for the albums, and they want to nominate some, we'll kind of have a chat about it. I looked at the time, we got about 26,000 people engaged on it at the time, and then started, giving us lists and stuff like that, which was really good. And we finished it last Saturday. And even on the final vote itself, just the two albums itself, there was over 50,000 viewing it.
Wow.
And bearing in mind it was pretty one-sided,
Mm.
but there was still a lot of kind of X activity, if you want, just around the chat and stuff like that, which just shows you we've managed to keep interest for most of the time, which is really good. Finals were pretty one-sided. I don't think we were mega surprised at the winners and what have you. Caroline, what was your thoughts?
No, I mean, I think it's fairly clear early on that Fisherman's Blues was likely to be the winner. I mean, it pulled strongly all the way through, and
Yeah,
there's obviously a lot of love for the album out there.
yeah, I agree with that. Colin?
Yeah, I think so. Also, there might have been a bit of a similar audience who love the Waterboys and love Big Country. So I wonder whether a lot of people had to choose.
Mm.
Um, for
Yeah.
me, it wasn't. There was no real kind of what's the word? Dichotomy.
Dilemma.
Yeah, dilemma, dichotomy. But for some people, so maybe that split the vote a bit.
So
Maybe.
you think that was that kind of big music sound,
Yeah.
if you want. You think,
Yeah,
that's
same
interesting.
same sort of time, same sort of period. Not dissimilar at times. Not throughout their whole careers, but there was a point when they were probably up against each other, and a lot of the same people probably liked them. I sound like Professor John Curtis.
I like that. I thought you were going to pull up some demographic stats or something from me there, which I could do with, to be honest. That's interesting because the third place album was New Gold Dream.
Mhm.
Again, slightly different and hadn't quite got to their kind of big music stage,
Mhm.
if you want, but not dissimilar again. I hadn't really thought of that. That it seems to be
At
that
that point, like
corner.
you think of Simple Minds at Ibrox, and um, the Waterboys supported them, and then Big Country were probably the other biggest. But at that point, there was probably a point. 85, they were probably the three biggest bands in Scotland, I would guess.
Hmm.
Maybe.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that kind of legacy's probably just rolled through, I
Yeah.
guess, over the years. Simple Minds was the biggest surprise for me personally. I mean, I really like Simple Minds, but I just didn't see that coming through as being as iconic as it appears to be to people. So,
Mhm.
but it's a
I
mighty
suppose
fine
it
album.
depends. I suppose it depends which generation of Simple Minds you followed. For
Yeah,
me, it would always be Empires and Dance, but
yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
others, New Gold Dream's really strong.
Yeah, I think up until that kind of New Gold Dream and just about beginning of Sparkle in the Rain, I think they were still pretty relevant, and then it kind of maybe a bit less so after that. But yeah, no, it was interesting. Really enjoyed it. Both of them were pretty one-sided. In fact, New Gold Dream would have had probably more votes probably than The Crossing, maybe if you'd put them against each other. So, but yeah, so that gave us the sort of final four. Hopefully, I can find the slides if I can see where they are. Could be anywhere. Have I got them with me? Wait a second. Come back out of that. Wait a second, guys. Um, as usual, trying to find my stuff and I can't find it. Here we go. Got it. Good stuff. I need to edit that out. Um, so can you see that kind of blank screen with the header?
Yeah.
Yep.
You can. Magic. Thank you. Okay, so got a couple of things on this, so let me just see if I can pull a few of them up. Okay, so on the left-hand side here, this is the final poll ranking. So this is all the votes we did for all the months. I reckon we're about 100, 110,000 votes all in for the last 5 or 6 months. So it's been pretty chunky. And as I say to Caroline off air, I think one blocked account in 6 months, which isn't bad. I don't know. Did you block any, Colin?
No,
No, you nearly.
I don't do blocking.
Yeah, I know you don't.
I just tend to ignore people rather than block them.
Yeah.
Well, I blocked one. Mike Scott blocked one. So I think it was two in total, I think. So, but yeah, so 6 months in, 100,000 odd votes, mega amount of debate. And obviously we end up with Fisherman's Blues coming on top. And I put a wee post out yesterday just kind of putting the list out and stuff. And you probably noticed that it started the whole chat again about the whataboutery stuff, which I suppose kind of shows the strength of the albums that are out there, I guess. Yeah. What do you think about it? Just kind of, looking at it in kind of cold daylight now. And that's the guys voted. So remember we did a kind of segment vote off thing. So they're all ranked based on votes. So that top five is the most popular five voted. So
I think it's good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, even if it's not album, some of the albums aren't personal favourites, are recognised, they've got their place in the Scottish canon. So I think it's actually a really good representation of a number of genres. I mean, it would have been nice to have seen some more recent stuff in there, but I think, in terms of the demographics of the voters and familiarity and whatever, I think, I think it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, I'd agree with all that. It is quite eclectic, and I think we talked about some of the 70s albums and stuff, sort of getting through to the latter stages. I guess the biggest decision we made was going to the one album per artist.
Mhm.
Any regrets on that? Do you think it was the right call?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's made it a much more interesting and diverse list.
Colin?
Agree. Yeah, there'd probably be about 6 or 7 artists that would drop out. So yeah,
Okay.
I think it was the right decision.
Okay, cool. We might be in a minority on that, but it's,
That
our it's our
we
podcast.
chose. So get it up you.
We love you all, really. Yeah. So yeah, it's cup format, really good fun. You get upsets in the cup format, don't you? That was the whole point. So yeah, and it is nice and eclectic, which is good. So yeah, I think you can put that out there. I think we're all happy with it. The comments on the feedback from X has been, it's a great list. You might argue about the order and double artists, things missing, hats keeps coming up all the time and whatever. But generally speaking, I think it's a list to be proud of, which I guess justifies everything that we did over the few months. And we also had quite a lot of guys joining us. Talked about Mike Scott earlier on there and just kind of Mike getting interested, but we had Lloyd on the other day with Chris Thompson on quite a lot. With Dean Rankin joined the chat. We've had a couple of Bluebells guys on. We had Edwin doing Edwin stuff, which joined the chat after all the vote had finished, when he couldn't influence any vote. But it was great to have him on, and a whole bunch of other people as well, which is really nice. So I think we've genuinely managed to get engagement across the kind of music fraternity, which is good. So that's what we got to. What we did in parallel with that, same as we did the Scottish songs, was we asked any of the guys if they wanted to sit and analyse the list on their own terms and give us their own top 20. To do that, and what I do is juggle it all together and give a composite kind of critics list from that. And I think, did you guys both take part? I know you did, Caroline.
Yep, I
Yeah.
did.
Colin, did you? Did you
No,
listen? No.
no.
Okay.
I chose not to.
That's okay. I'm fine with that. Right.
Abstention is allowed.
Sorry.
Abstention is allowed.
Yes.
Totally.
I like to be impartial.
Yeah, absolutely. So then, before I click the button, so give me what you think the top three of the critics list. So it was the same 32 albums, but obviously the guys could rank them in any order they wanted. So we had about 27 or 28 people, I think, come back with their own 20. So what do you think the top three is, Caroline?
A Walk Across the Rooftops, I would guess, would be in there.
Uh-huh.
Highland Hard Rain, I would think would be there. Everybody loves Roddy.
They do.
And I would like to see Sulk there, but that might just be me.
Okay, I don't know about that. Colin.
Uh, yes, I concur with two of Caroline's.
Right.
So Highland Hard Rain, Walk Across the Rooftops, and I'm going to go for Fisherman's Blues.
Fisherman's Blues. Right, okay. Of course, I now can't remember the top three. I was going to try and tell you who was right there before I hit the button, but I can't remember. So I'll just need to click it up and see how we go. Okay. You see that okay? So on
Hmm.
the right-hand side, it says Critics' Choice ranking.
Yep.
Oh,
So Walk
Ooh,
Across the Rooftops
wow.
1, New Gold Dream 2, and Psycho Candy
Wow.
3. So that, isn't that a wee bit different?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's a big fail for me, given that I put Psycho Candy at the top and I didn't even guess it was going to be in the top three.
You did, yeah. I mean, Rooftops. I think I might have blown it up. Let's see if I got it. Hold on a second. Yeah, here we go. That's the same 10, just blown up a little bit. Just to let you see the 10. So I think the two different ones are, I think the Crossing and Night Owl have dropped out from the whole ranking, and Rattlesnakes and Heaven or Las Vegas have came in, and the rest are just a different order to the 10.
I would say that's more of the top 10 I would have expected at the beginning rather than the one we got.
Yes, I would have
Yeah,
thought so too,
Yeah.
actually. I
because
think I think some of the really strong albums got a hard draw.
yeah, back to You Can't Have Hide Your Love Forever.
Yeah.
There was another one as well. I think was a pretty tough fought, and also didn't like Highland play against Rattlesnakes or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but again, in a cup thing, you're going to get that. So I mean, it's arguably a slightly stronger 10 than the one on the left. But it is subjective. So um, yeah, so I think it's quite interesting. It didn't, as I say, it was 8 out of 10 stayed in the top 10. So it's, I mean, you can argue there's other albums missing, and I get that, but they had 32 to pick from. It's, I don't know what those, I don't know what that is on probability, but 8 out of 10 is pretty high. So and Rooftops just, it's a whole debate about the Blue Nile and where they sit, but they have got some sort of emotional connection to a large part of our Scottish music fraternity. They just do. So I'm guessing it's a good thing, is it? Is it? No,
Yes.
it is. Yeah.
Yes.
So, I
Caroline,
mean, they definitely inspired devotion, just not in me, I'm afraid.
or some of the guys on X, to be fair, they're a wee bit
Caroline's just a punk. That's admit it.
Superannuated.
super. Yeah, I mean they are a wee bit Marmite, and again, we mentioned earlier about Roddy. There's a little bit of a kind of myth slash legend now, I think, to the Blue Nile because they're quite, very low profile and what have you. So, but it's all about the music, isn't it? You've still got to have good songs. So, yeah. So there, yeah, that would cheer everybody up. Jane and the guys will all be
Yeah,
delighted.
I'm going to ask you how many times Jane voted for it.
Yeah, you're not wrong, by the way. A lot of burner phones out there for sure. So yeah, so I mean, it's always been for fun, but it's nice to see the poll list at the end because that was a lot of effort for everyone, and then to see the guys that we know through the chat having a go, and just adjusting it a little bit. But as I say, not that dissimilar. Back to that Simple Minds observation, that's a free vote, and New Gold Dreams number two. So there's definitely some love out there for that big time. I've actually been playing that a little bit over the last month or so, which probably haven't played it for yonks, and it's just a cracking album. So
So
so yeah,
if you combine the two lists, then New Gold Dream would probably be number one,
yeah, yeah,
and
probably yeah,
Fisherman's Blues two, then Walk Across the Rooftops three.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, close. Salt, the two salts, six. They're both six, I think, aren't
Silk would sit where it was though, wouldn't
they?
it?
Yeah. Highland Hardrain, two fives. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
probably right. Actually, yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be close. I mean, yeah, yeah, really happy with it. It's not my list, but on the basis what we're trying to get a list that we thought would be something to be proud of, I think it's a good list. So well done everybody, and thanks for making the effort to give us a 20 because it wasn't easy. Everybody wrote and said this is brutal. So so thanks for that. All right, what else did we do? We just before we click off again. Oh yeah, so yeah, I forgot that we did the album covers vote until somebody on X asked me how the vote went, and I'd forgot, so I had to go and find it and rattle through it. So what I done was I went and checked them all, and I come up with the top three that were voted on. Okay, so keep you on the spot today, Caroline. Give me what you think the three album covers are from that list that are the top three.
Oh, goodness, I'm trying to think what some of them look like. Let's say Raintown,
Mm-hmm.
Solid Air, and the
Mm-hmm.
Proclaimers.
Mm-hmm. Like that. Very eclectic. Colin.
Uh, Screamadelica,
Uh-huh.
Highland Hard Rain,
Uh-huh.
and I'll go for Raintown as well.
Renton as well. Okay. Well, if I can get this up, hopefully. It comes up on it, which I may or may not do. There we go. So Raintown was number three, which was great because Raintown did well as an album, but the covers obviously got that iconic because it's part of your man's display, wasn't it? All the stuff he's done over the years to do with the Glasgow stuff. And it
Oscar
actually,
Mazzaroli.
Oh, yeah.
thank you. And it reminded me, because I've asked you about an album, haven't it? And it reminded me of an album I really love, which I'll mention in a second. Yeah, Oscar Mazzaroli was three. And then we had Screamadelica at two.
If
And
I'd remembered that, I might have said it. But
Oh, Caroline, you can't read. Yeah, you can't change your vote after that, right?
no.
goodness me, it's like being back on X again. I mean, it is properly iconic, and I literally knew nothing about the cover, but when I googled it, it was one of the designers at Creation Records, and he sat in the wee shitty office, and there was a big damp patch in the corner of the office, and I think he was going through some sort of hallucinogenic phase, and he started scribbling it as he was kind of sitting in the office, and then he painted it out, and it all became what it is. So a little bit different than Raintown, but it's massively iconic. I think they both are. I think the number one album you can take a view on. So I think that's where the art and the artist I think have probably fused back in again. I was looking at it. I think you might have seen. I asked on X about what's the
Yeah, where
story
it
behind the
was,
cover.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't honestly didn't know anything about it. And
I do.
go on then, tell us, Colin.
It's the old Herman Baptist Church. Is it on Kilmarnock Road?
Yeah, down south side.
And it was there till I think maybe about 10 years ago. And there was a church, more of a church at the side, and that was like a shop front. You can come across the whole. There is, I think, Picture This Scotland has the hole before it was derelict,
Right. Okay.
which has a
I'll
picture. But
I'll
yeah,
find that. I'll find that and
it's
put it on then.
not too far from Hampden Park.
And if you get any idea on why we're standing outside it and looking and
No,
wistfully, because
no,
I always thought it was a little bit. I liked it because it's black and white. I quite like black and white images, but I wasn't entirely sure whether it was just they took hundreds of photographs and picked that one, or whether the fact of looking into this something kind of means something. I've no idea. So.
yeah, it is good.
That is good. I probably changed my mind a bit about it when I looked at it. I thought actually it's pretty cool. So, but there you are. So that was the top three. As I say, the other two definitely have got that iconic sort of feel to them. So yeah, so I think we've done that. I also just need to give a shout out to Shirley, who is at Desperate but Not Serious, who won the Adopt the Album competition, and she's getting an album sent to her as we speak, hopefully with a little signature on it from Mr. Scott,
Oh, fantastic.
Five.
which would be great. And also, yeah, that predicts the final thing we did at the weekend. So they did the top four with the percentage winner, and John Fenner won that. John was got the four right, and I think he was 61%. I think he voted for Blues, which was 63%, I think. Everyone else was a bit lower. So well done, John. And he's getting some of those books that I've been trying to get rid of for 5 or 6 months. So some of those are winging their way down to John over the next few days. And again, thanks to everybody for taking part on that. All right, cool. So let's come back out again. So that's all that taken care of. So what else have we got to cover off? Lessons learned. Yeah, so 5 months ago we started doing this. I think one of the first things we asked was, what does kind of being Scottish mean as an artist? Did all those polls and stuff like that. As of yesterday at 10:30, I was still doing them with people, Lloyd Cole, Mike Scott, Tom Cobley. So kind of, 5 or 6 months worth of reflection. It's been really good fun, but any other kind of thoughts on how it's all went?
I think the level of engagement that you've got has been extraordinary, actually. Just to see people thanking you yesterday on X, and I thought, that
Yeah.
that was a real testament to how much people have enjoyed it, and I've appreciated all the work that you put into it, Brian.
Well, thanks, Carly. I mean, we all have, and as an aside, it's not really the reason we do it, but the number of people clicking and having a look at the podcast has sort of significantly grown over the last 5 or 6 months. So they must be really desperate to want to do that. But it does show there is a bit of interest in seeing the kind of chat play out a little bit. And although they might not agree with us, I think they quite like the fact there's a second opinion and we kind of challenge it a little bit as a group of people. So, but yeah, thanks for that. And a lot of that goes down to yourself and Colin as well. Colin, any other thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think it's been great fun. I yeah, I just think it's like sometimes you go round in circles, but that's just the nature. That's just the nature of the beast. But yeah, Brian, you've done a sterling job, and yeah, and the thing is, you either take it seriously or you don't take it seriously, and it is just fun. And I don't think any of us go in the huff when our albums didn't make it through. So
Right,
Well,
and part of the
a
fun is
little bit.
just seeing how seriously some people take it.
exactly.
It did get a wee bit sharp, and it does. Of course, it does. It's why X gets such a bad name at times, right? And I totally get that. But I can say hand on heart. I mean, we've cleaned out a couple of chats, but in the space of 100 votes and millions of views and stuff over 6 months, it's like it's minuscule when it gets to that point, and I'm actually quite proud of that. So what should we do? Any ideas other than in a dark room for 4 or 5 months over the summer? Is there any initial thoughts about what we might want to do before I put it out to the guys on X for the autumn?
I've got one.
I never like it
Go
when
for
you come up with these, Colin.
it.
Go on then.
The Battle of the M8, Glasgow v Edinburgh.
Oh.
Bring it on.
Ah, brilliant. So there you are. So my first thought is what constitutes Glasgow and
Well,
what
I know. Well, we're
constitutes.
going to have to go down that route. But you put a Glasgow v Edinburgh, a Glasgow v Edinburgh.
Yeah, so you get to like, I don't know, where do you get to, like Hart Hill or
Don't
something,
know.
and you put a line down or
Grangemouth.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
listen,
Hart
saying
Hill.
Grangemouth for Edinburgh.
I love that. That's brilliant.
It's where salt and sauce stops and salt and vinegar starts. That's where it can be. It could be called that salt v vinegar v sauce.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, I love that. I wrote it down. Caroline, you can't beat that, can you?
No, I can't beat that. And I suspect I would be on the wrong side in that one as well
I
if you do go
suspect you
for
would,
that.
but we still love you,
Um,
so it's fine. You
and
get
I
any
think
other?
we
Any?
talked before about possibly doing something around live albums.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, so I think a couple of
Not
years
necessarily
ago.
Scottish live albums, but just live albums generally.
Yeah, let me go and chat. Look at that because I'm going to ask you, aren't you, about an album recommendation? But when we do the live music at me stuff, for every guest at
Mhm.
the end, we ask them to recommend a live album,
Mhm.
and they love talking about them. There's you either really like live albums or you don't, but it does create this kind of real kind of human interest thing. So we definitely did something off the back of the 100 albums way
Mhm.
back where we did a little kind of sub vote on live albums, but it wasn't that big at the time. So I'll definitely go back and have a look at that. It's definitely worth looking at. I might
And
do.
my other thought was possibly best cover version.
Yeah, I like that. Somebody else mentioned like duets and stuff. Just and I thought, well, how do you quantify that? I don't know. So
So
duets
we,
on the M8. I don't know how we get with that. So
Caroline, I think, had also said something to involve female artists.
Oh yes, yeah.
yeah, a bit of
Again,
poetry.
would it be solo? Would it be bands with girl singers? Would it be all girl bands? I don't know. I think it'd be quite good to include all.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, I get that bit of positive discrimination as well. And we also said we would look at maybe something of the later albums because they get a bit of a raw deal. Anything from 2000 or so onwards doesn't really get the props that the other guys do. So, but these all feel a little bit smaller. So it might be we don't do this kind of major thing. We just do two or three smaller ones over the autumn. It gives us all a bit of peace. But yeah, I'll put it out there to the guys on X as well. But they're cracking. So that's magic. Thanks for that. Okay. And what did I ask you? Yeah, I asked you for your own nomination. So one album one Scottish artist album that everyone should own a copy of. So, Caroline,
I'm going to say Psycho Candy because I think
right,
it's
okay.
very different. When it came along, it was very different from anything else that was out there. And there's a lot of albums on the lists that I've loved in the past, but I wouldn't necessarily listen to now. But anytime I hear any of Psycho Candy, it just gives me a visceral thrill and takes me right back to how exciting they were at the time.
Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah, absolutely. There was nothing like them. You're dead right. So, and having just read about them in that Alan McGee book again, on Creation Records, it was fascinating to get the backstory and stuff. So, totally get that. Colin, come on, show me your album, mate. Come on. Come on. Oh, oh, what you like? You're on, you're,
Okay.
you're you're on message par excellence here. Love that. And because Colin, because
I think it's evocative of Scotland. I think it's quirky. I think it's cool. I think there's an allure to it. I think it's cinematic. I think it's doesn't sound like any other record. It has noises of metal that you don't hear on other records. Uh, it stood the test of time. You know, the band are still influencing people like Taylor Swift.
yeah,
It was never the most commercial. They didn't play live a lot. When they did play live, it was a bit of a religious experience to a lot of people. You'd walk past them in the street
mm.
unless you're a serial killer like me that follows Paul Buchanan around Waitrose looking in his basket.
I might need
Actually,
to edit. I might need to edit that out, Colin.
I play blue. Oh, I've talked about this before. I play Blue Nile Bingo. Oh, Paul Buchanan's getting a mango. He never buys large sausage. It's always a very Blue Nile basket. But that for me is the album.
All right. No, I mean I mean, you see the love for it, so it genuinely has stood the test of
Yeah.
time.
And you've definitely topped me because I've never met Jim or William in the supermarket.
I
Hey,
wouldn't speak to Paul Buchanan up. Gosh,
there's no
no.
way the Jim and that go to a
I
supermarket,
know.
Caroline. They just don't. They eat babies and stuff, don't they? You know what I mean? There's no way they do that.
Jelly babies.
Thank you. I don't have one, but just as a reference back to Raintown, because it's a comp, so it isn't quite the same, but I think it's quite an important one. It's the bird, the tree, the fish, and the bell
Yeah.
Yeah.
comp. And I don't know, that'd be about 1990 or something that came out, I'm
Yeah.
guessing, right? Loosely about that time. And the reason it was really important to me at the time was that I'd just in the process of moving to England and it kind of started to lose touch a little bit with the things you were doing because obviously you get a new job and just stuff, right? And it came out and it's just like kind of ticked every box for me because it's so many of my favorite artists all landing in one CD, and then the cover was great and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I've been digging that out and playing it the last
Well,
few weeks.
there's another poll. The greatest Scottish compilation album. You've
Well,
got
that
12
that
tracks.
that's won it, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
No, but we do one.
sorry.
Pick our favourite 12 to make. Now that's what I call Scottish music.
We put it together.
Ah.
All right, okay. Just me, you, and Caroline.
Well, I'm just saying it could be a poll. What would be the 32 tracks on now? That's what I call Scottish music.
Oh God, you were doing so well there, Colin. You were doing so well, mate. Yeah, lovely. Thank you. And they are both belters, so I'm sure guys will go and recheck them out again. That's us, I think, for this one. We're hoping to maybe have a couple of little bonus episodes around the greatest albums. We did one with Steve Lillywhite a couple of weeks ago, which was great, actually. Very fortuitous managed to do that. But yeah, it was great and feedback was lovely. So we're hoping to at least maybe one more of those kind of album chats over the next week or so, which we'll get out there. But in terms of doing this stuff, we're finished. So I would just like to thank both of you guys and Donna, obviously, who struggled to get on later on, but was there very much at the inception. Because it is really good fun, but it helps an awful lot to have somebody else to buffer on and to inspire me in equal measures. So, and some of the ideas that have come out of the podcast chat have been great, and it's also really good fun, which is the most important thing. So, thank you both very much. There's a big stiff drink waiting for you somewhere the next time.
Good,
Next time we hit a gig together, but
good.
we'll see you at the bar. And to everyone out there, of course, thank you very much as well. And we will see you all on the other side. Okay. So take care, guys, and we'll catch you soon. Thank you very much.
See you later. Bye.
Take
Bye,
care.
bye.
Bye.